Hey, it is me, the CEO's publicist, coming to you from my office. I'm actually using my phone this time. Welcome to an episode of Kali TV. And I decided to do this episode right now because I just hopped off a live and I said, you know what? Let me just do this because I have been getting this exact same question for the longest while. And I think as we're going into busy season, I think this is why this question keeps coming up all the time. People keep asking me, how do I manage overwhelm? Like, how do I deal with it? How do I not go crazy? Now, let me first tell you, as a marketer, I am a little bit crazy. I absolutely have to be. It is what it is. But seriously, I totally understand. It could be a bit much, especially when you're juggling home, you're juggling life, you're juggling children, you're juggling all these different things. So, to answer that question, I would share with you what I do to, not completely lose it at any given point in time. So the first thing that I do is I usually make my to-do list. And this is not a normal to-do list, just listing out everything that I have to do. I put it in order of priority and I list the top 3 things that I absolutely have to get done by the end of that day, whatever those 3 things are. Now, as I go through, I may not necessarily get all 3 things done, but that's the goal, right? The goal is, let me at least do these 3 things. Sometimes, I surprise myself, but I list out what I call the must-dos on my to-do list, the top 3 things, right? After I get done with that, then I would typically, I would I shouldn't say when I'm done with that, but what I would also do is, like, while I'm working, I try to stay away from social media or even my phone, actually. So most times I would leave my phone in a totally different room. The pinging and the notifications and the phone calls, they tend to be extremely distracting. And then sometimes, just out of habit, you grab your phone, you start to scroll through social media. So I typically leave my phone in the next room. But even outside of work, I try to limit my social media because, it could get a little, first of all, it's a time sucker. That's the first thing. And then secondly, it could be an energy drainer, if you follow a lot of news stories, a lot of negative news, a lot of, those types of things. It could be an energy sucker as well. So I try to limit, even outside of my working hours, I try to limit the amount of time I spend on social media. And that actually really, really helps. I would tend to read a book. I love to read. I just got finished reading Will Smith's autobiography. It was fantastic, I must say. But I try to read as much as possible to pass the time when I'm not on social media. And then, after I get my work completed and everything, I make sure and I schedule time for my babies. And I call them my babies because I always say the big one acts like the small one and the small one acts like the big one. So I will play with the little one and, he loves his letters and his blocks and all those types of things. I would play with him. And then the older one, she wants to talk about different things. If you do not know, my children are born 18 years apart. Don't ask me why. Yeah. So different hats, different ways I have to interact with them. But that's basically how I manage my time. If I feel like super, super overwhelmed, I might call my friend. We all need that business bestie. I call my friend, we chat, we talk. And if things get really, really hectic, I might just take a trip to the beach. Because in Trinidad, we live on an island. The beach is just a few minutes away. But that's typically how I deal with overcoming overwhelm. Yeah, because it could get a little bit much, and I totally understand. Yeah. So even as we go into this busy season where we feel like there's so much going on and we have so much to do, keep those things in mind. Your top 3 to-dos, your major to-dos, to get them done. Stay away from social media as much as humanly possible, just to keep your energy levels up and to manage your time. And schedule that time to spend with your family, because that way you don't feel guilty, right? And they get the time that they need with you as well, so you're not like overly working. Yeah. So those are my tips to help you overcome overwhelm. And if you have any other questions, guys, Kali TV, it's there. Ask me anything. And I also want to talk to you about the strategic power planning party that's actually coming up in December from the 9th to the 11th. You have to be there. On the 9th and the 10th, we go through power strategy. And sorry, on the 9th and 10th, we're going to go through power strategy and power planning, right? Where I'm going to actually help you plan and strategize 2023. But on day 3, which is the brunch, we're going to talk about all these things to help you manage 2023 better to ensure that you succeed. So all this talk about overcoming overwhelm, we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a financial person, the virtual CFO. She's going to talk about how to manage your money and make your money work for you, because we're not trying to be living client to client. We're not trying to live that life. We're going to have Dana Haysbrook, the vision builder, who's going to talk about, planning your vision and making sure you stay on point with that vision. We're going to have a fashion consultant who's going to talk to you about how to dress for success, especially if networking is part of your to-do list for 2023. We're even going to launch a local designer. If you're looking for a little outfit to wear, we have you covered. And every single thing that you would need to build your business in 2023 to make sure you succeed. So click the link, grab your ticket, and let's get our 2023 on. Right? So I will talk to you soon.